Hello and good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad to see all of you here. My name is Sana Rehmat and I am the Faculty Outreach Advisor at XtremeLabs. We are really excited to be hosting this MCT Meetup in October. Today, I'm really glad to introduce Ms. Callahan as our co-host for this month's MCT Meetup. Her efforts and her time has been really phenomenal for us during the planning and preparation of this event. It was really fun. So Callahan has been in the IT field, most of which as a Microsoft certified trainer for more than 20 years, having been a consultant, trainer, and technical writer since 1990s. She has spoken at numerous events including TechEd, Ignite, and Windows Connections. Callahan is a former MVP and has authored or co-authored a number of books about Windows Server, Windows Client, and Microsoft SharePoint. She has also had the occasional opportunity to design and contribute content for mock courseware, as well as staffed and supported hands-on labs for numerous Microsoft events. So we are really excited to welcome her here, and I would like you all to welcome Miss Callahan. And Callahan, you can now proceed with your session. It's all yours. Thank you.
And thank you so much. I have to let my friends know that while I'm sharing, as you well know, what Teams has done is, unless I explicitly bring up the Teams window with everybody in it, I can't always see you. Okay, I've brought a couple of people up, but so what I'm going to do now is just turn on the chat so that I can see what people are saying. I will have my eyes on the screen, so I may not necessarily see you. I will be occasionally, depending on what's going on, I might ask for some feedback in the chat. So if you feel like doing that, I would appreciate it. As a matter of fact, can I just say, can everybody, not just Sana, can everybody see my screen that says Demystifying MCT Central on what looks like a denim background? Can anybody see that? Okay, Sasan can see it. Good
Yes,
enough?
we can see it.
Excellent. All right. So while I have this going, let's go for slide number 2. Here's my agenda. Basically, it is centered around what MCTs need, what do we have in terms of MCT Central and other resources, where are our resources, things like, this is sort of a broad overview, but what I think MCTs need, like information about our courseware, labs, passes, transcripts, day-to-day tools to evangelize, legitimize, and normalize Microsoft products, which is what we do. I have Teams has just decided to pop out into my slide. I don't know if everybody can see that. Okay. Gotta love it. So anyway, the thing that we do as MCTs, as I said, we evangelize and advocate for Microsoft products. We legitimize Microsoft products. We are the face for our students for Microsoft products. And because we are actually teaching these things, we actually normalize them. So if Microsoft releases Viva, no one knows what Viva is until quite possibly we teach it to them. So we are a critical part, I think, of Microsoft's ecosystem of normalizing Microsoft's products when they first released to market. So the MCT Central should be the place for us to figure out how to keep our MCT certification, get our resources, use the resources to remain trained and skilled up, and it should be the place to get help. And now you can see why I brought this all up, because I have my basic list here. And I'm not going to read all the way through it, but I'm assuming that I'm going to be able to give you guys these slides in PDF if you need them. For those of you in the group that are kind of newer, this might be useful for you to realize what we've got, just a quick rundown, what we can do. But there are other, down at the end, it's other benefits, tools, and offers, because it's kind of a growing, morphing, changing list of things. So these are the basics of what I think MCTs need. So MCT Central, what do we have for MCTs? MCT Central is accessible to MCTs only via their MCT email login. That means that anyone who has ever been an MCT can get into MCT Central. Can somebody admit Olympia? Who's waiting in the lobby, please? So
I am doing that, Callahan.
Thank you. Thank you, Sana. It's now, yeah. So if you have ever been an MCT, you might have been an MCT 20 years ago and not been an MCT since. If you've ever been an MCT, you can access MCT Central. And within MCT Central, you should, one would assume, access everything that you need, right? It is a pretty static environment. It doesn't really change that much. So it's supposed to be easy to navigate. It's supposed to have our renewal tools and more. It's supposed to have critical up-to-date information. It stores recordings, sometimes shows upcoming events, and it's supposed to be the place where we get access to everything. So at this point, I'm going to actually see what it has and if it works for us. Part of the reason why I'm now going to go to MCT Central directly is the fact that it has actually what we need in it. I know those of you who are here are very likely the people that may have found MCT Central a little bit non-intuitive. Where is everything? What? And you may notice that the website, as I scroll down, doesn't change a lot. It's kind of static. It's got a lot of information from, well, it's been updated recently, but it usually has a lot of information of things that are past. So this is MCT Central. You cannot get in without an MCT account. Okay. At the top are the tiles that let you get to recordings of previous things, such as if you're into business applications, you're a business applications MCT, you do dynamics and stuff like that. There are some largely outdated links to videos, train the trainer videos for those of you who are business apps trainers. This might be useful to you, but for the rest of us, this gives us an interesting insight into how to do biz apps at all. They are somewhat older, but they are pretty insightful. So if you're thinking about doing business applications, you're thinking about doing dynamics, you might actually want to go and spend some time under business applications in the MCT zone. Town hall, these are the recordings for town halls. We actually occasionally get newsflash newsletters. And if you can't find yours in your email or you didn't get it, you can see it printed out here. I don't always see that updating, but I don't always get the news flashes, so it's better than nothing. The Microsoft Learn Trainer Readiness. We'll get back to this because this is actually pretty juicy. And then we have the forums, which are basically not places where a lot of MCTs go. They're under the community forums, but they can be useful. Notice that these forums, though, it doesn't take you to help. Where do you find help up here at the very top? You don't really. Down below that, we have the listed, actually just columns that are essentially articles in a column format. And they are not always updated, but as if they were preparing for me to display their MCT Central, all of this is updated now. So there you go. That's kind of cool. Changes to the program might be a little bit older, revised on January 27th, 2021. But most of this is pretty recent. It has the year of 2022, December. Yeah, thank you for laughing because, yeah, that's kind of a thing. So that's great. But what really is important is this bar down at the bottom of the page. The resources. This is where the meat and potatoes are, such as the MCT program announcements. Yes, most of it is a little bit older, but the announcements are here. That is something you're not going to get outside the MCT site, the MCT Central. There's MCT Readiness, which goes nowhere but your profile. Going to be honest, there's MCT support forums. but that actually just takes you to the publicly accessible, not particularly special support forums for Microsoft certified professionals and certified trainers, which means for those of you who are newer, if you go into the Microsoft certified trainer support forums, understand that it surfaces your identity. It's not discreet. It's not private. It's not anonymous. So there are a number of MCTs who are shy, who don't want to admit that they're having issues. And so they certainly don't want to actually put something in a public forum. So if you're going to want to ask a question and you're afraid to really show your face associated with, or your name associated with a question maybe you're embarrassed about, go to a regional lead and ask them. They have a better chance of being discreet for you and asking for you so that you are not embarrassed by that. We also have the link for the Learning Download Center. Learning Download Center used to be where we got our courseware. I'm not going to click on it because there might be people in this group that may not be active MCTs, and therefore they can't actually get into the Learning Download Center because it's only for active MCTs. But the Learning Download Center is where you go to get your slides, your change log for the courses, and other little bits and bobs, because the courseware is now on Learn. It's publicly accessible by anybody. So that part has been removed as a downloadable thing from the Learning Download Center. So to look at the courseware, you have to do learning paths. So if you're interested in the learning paths and figuring out how to do the whole training using the learning paths, Microsoft Learn Trainer Readiness. Up under here, you have readiness resources, evolution of ILT courseware, etc. But really, what's useful are these recordings. I don't know if you can see where my mouse is, but we have the evolution of ILT courseware. It's actually an MP4. Office hours recording in May concerning it, commonly asked questions, and better, these demos. I like these demos because they are generally presented by people in Microsoft, the MTTs, who are boots on the ground, had to do this first, had to use the learning paths to teach because they were dogfooding Microsoft's desire to have everything on Learn. And so they have really great insights, and they are the ones who are literally doing it. Like Stephen Deming. I worked with Stephen Deming in 2003, 2004. And if anybody is going to figure out how to message something in a positive way, it's going to be Stephen. He's been in Microsoft forever. So if you're trying to figure out how to handle criticism about the learning path that you can't control, check out his videos. The Lunch and Learns are very useful. Almost nobody knows they're there, and they're really great for tips and tricks in the field. So I have found that, and I'm going to scroll back up, and I have found that in the MCT Central, the Microsoft Trainer Readiness, the Microsoft Learn now Trainer Readiness, is really priceless, and nobody even realizes it's there. I honestly wanted to do a viewing party and just every week go through one of those so that we could all see them, because it's very much worth it. Let me see here. While we're going down to the resource bar, sign up for the MCT newsletter. For those of you not receiving the MCT newsletter, sign up here. In my experience, whenever I sign up for a Microsoft event and I turn off the send me junk mail box for an event because I don't want stuff from the partner, I can end up losing my MCT newsletter, because what I did is I told Microsoft to stop sending me junk mail, and that includes the MCT newsletter. So whenever I do that, I come back in here and I put my name in and I check the box I'd like email from Microsoft, and I subscribe. So again, to get your MCT newsletter, come over to the resource bar and sign up for the MCT newsletter. For a second, I blanked on where that is. I'm actually going to zoom this a little bit. I don't have Zoom It on this machine. Part of the reason why I do that is I don't want to have any tools that any MCT anywhere in the world, no matter how new, I don't want to have any tools that they don't have. So everything I do in these user group presentations are what's built in the machine, and zooming in and zooming out is built into the browser. So now that I've got this a little bit bigger, the courseware title plan and MCT competency requirements. This is big. Boom, opens a spreadsheet. Opens a spreadsheet. Okay. It normally opens it to MCT competencies, or no, I'm sorry, courseware title. So I was looking at the other tab, so I guess it remembered what I last opened. But when you open the sheet, you actually get to see every single one of these courses. And it is supposed to actually show you the entire course with the course name. But now I am not getting any of that. Wow, wow, wow. Under normal circumstances, you get to see the course number over here on the left-hand side, and you can see the solution area, etc. But now, I guess we need to see, here we go, it's in the middle for this particular spreadsheet at this time that I am presenting to you here. But you can see the course number and the title. Normally, that's far over on the left. You can see that this particular spreadsheet is split in the middle because there's so much data. So you can slide the details over on the right to see things like the release date, the state it's in, the change documents, etc. And the actual cost for it, which I don't know that that's really relevant anymore, but you can see all the courses. Okay, so what's really important to MCTs though is the tab down. Oh, by the way, this document, people come into this Excel spreadsheet and think that the whole spreadsheet is just this. No, look at the tabs. Look at the tabs. You can see the MCT competencies of what you're allowed to teach based on the course and what certifications you have. And that's kind of important. We have a fraction of the courses we used to teach now that we're only doing things in the cloud. Also notice that this primarily shows just the introductory courses, because if you are going to want to teach the other courses, you're going to need to take the course that ties to the book. You can't get away from that. No faking it. Fundamentals, you need to have fundamentals or higher. Preferably, as an MCT, I'll give you a pro tip. Get the certification for the course above the one you're teaching. It's priceless, because people will ask questions that if you do not have the experience of the next course, you may not be able to answer it. It also makes you look much better when you can say, I hear what you're saying. That is a very good question. That is covered in the next level of certification or the next course on this track for this particular technology, and go from there. It always makes you look better. But you have my camera's in the way, the exams here, and you also have the LOC courseware exams, etc. I'm not going to go through every single tab, but this was a link, remember, on MCT Central, and it was under courseware title plan and MCT competencies requirements. The community event link, I'm not going to bother typing, or I'm sorry, I'm not going to bother clicking on, because it takes you to Facebook, to a, hi guys, to a page to log in to Facebook, to a Facebook group most of us don't go to. But knock yourself out if you want to go to that community group. Maybe that's where you want to make your splash and start posting a lot of things. I believe there was John, I don't know how to pronounce your name. The gentleman, there it is, John. It was John Mora. And John posted in the Facebook groups for MCTs about this particular presentation, this session. And maybe this is something that John and others might want to populate, the community events, and let the community know about this over in that Facebook group. But to tell you the truth, most of us are not there. And almost all of you, thank you, Sana, most all of you are Here, because you were in the Facebook groups, either the MCT networking group, or you're in the equivalent MCT networking group over in LinkedIn. So you may actually know what I'm talking about, that most of us don't go to community events, but that was there. How to contact your regional lead. A lot of people come to this page looking, where's the link to the regional leads? I need to find my regional lead. Yeah, it's down here in this bar, buried down here. Contact your regional lead. It will open up a spreadsheet. Okay. Now, here's the deal. If I Bing, okay, I believe I'm binging in this, whatever search engine you love, DuckDuckGo, Google, whatever, and we do MCT, let me try this, regional lead 2022. John Deerdruff, regional lead application. And, oh, it's blocked on here. Interesting. Let me try Google. MCT regional leads. I'll do it plural this time. 2022. Here we go. Blind Google, guys. This information is public. Anybody can go to Google and pick it up. So you don't actually have to be at MCT Central to get that link for contact your regional lead. But for novices, they're going to come to MCT Central looking for all things central to MCTs. And they're going to go to this link, not knowing they can Google it. Interestingly, we just tried to use Bing and it didn't really surface it. So that's something to keep in mind. At any rate, coming back to MCT Central, we have the contact your regional lead beta exams codes. There are two things that novices and even experienced MCTs may not know. You can get beta exam codes to take beta exams and say your topic that is your expert topic, the topic that most interests you. This is where you go for this. And so this page might be useful for you. Beta code voucher request form. Beta code voucher request form. Here's a link to request a beta code voucher. There may be other ways to do this. I am not someone who enjoys exams. I have pretty bad exam anxiety. So I don't enjoy and I don't put myself out there trying beta exams because I'm not that confident. So I don't really use it that much. But this is where you go for the beta exam codes. For people wondering why they didn't get their O365 service as part of their benefit as an MCT. We used to have it. Why don't we have it now? What happened to it? What's going on? Oh, did you know? You have to have one of this short list of certifications to get the MCT benefit of the O365, or now called M365 E3 license. Okay, and we're trying to get the E5 license. But in order to have, moving forward, being sure that you have this, you must have these certifications. Remember, all of these cloud certifications must be renewed every year. So you can't take it and coast on it, these exams, and expect your benefits. You must renew them every year. And that is an exam, a certification thing. It's not an MCT thing. So that is something you're going to have to look at outside of MCT Central. But nonetheless, here are the certifications that you need for the O365. But that's buried here. The Enrique Lima Award, if any of you want to nominate somebody who is, you think, doing a good job and really cares about the community, etc., you can do the Enrique Lima Award. I think that the nominations for people that are putting themselves out there supporting the community, the deadline for that is October 31st. So if you have somebody in mind, go for the Enrique Lima Award. How to claim your MCT discount. A lot of us think, want to get the discount, but it's no longer quite as clear as it used to be, well, all you have to do is uh, go to Pearson or schedule an exam logged in as your MCT. Thank you, Sasan. The logged in as your MCT account over at Pearson VUE, where you're taking your exam, or I think even Certiport. I don't do every exam out there. Then when you schedule your exam, if you are a valid active MCT, you should be able, and I believe even alumni should be able to get that discount, but it only shows up when you're scheduling an exam. So if you're worried that the exam you want to take doesn't get a discount, you have to schedule first to find out, or go into scheduling to find out whether or not you actually get the discount and how much the discount is. It's frustrating, but thank you, Fred, but it is the way it goes. So bottom line, if you're confused about how to get the MCT discount, how to claim it, you can go to this link, how to claim the MCT exam discount. And it takes you to a simple little step-by-step, that's 7 steps about scheduling the exam. Then when you schedule the exam, you can go to the exam discounts and the certification profile. So there should be 2, because one is better discount than the other, et cetera, et cetera. So that is over here in the bar on the right. That is not the easiest thing to find. I would think all of these links should be at the top of the page. Nonetheless, we now have the MCT community guidelines. I'm trying to get through this because I have another interface to show you and to tell you about and why it's there. But first, MCT community guidelines, if you need to understand how to be a good community member and how to be nice to people, I am kind of surprised that you're an MCT. But if you do need help in figuring out how to be positive, kind, and curious, or I'm sorry, curious, we are curious, courteous, and friendly, this will tell you how to do it and what you should not do. Okay? And if you want to be clear about this or use this to reinforce someone else who may not be following the guidelines, this is a good place to mention it. The community guidelines, though, do not generally, for legal reasons, have to be somewhere at the beginning of a site if there are going to be guidelines enforced. Whenever you're designing a space, site, forum, that is going to have people in it that you need them to understand that being mean is going to get them kicked out. You need to have that clearly stated. So in other words, there shouldn't be a program, an organization, a community that has banned people without clearly presenting to those people at the beginning what they might be banned for. Again, if there is a program that is banning people for doing things or using things or whatever in a way that the organization, the program doesn't think is appropriate, it's kind of a legal thing. It's kind of a human resources thing. You have to publish what you don't want from the community if you're going to enforce a rule on the community. So just an idea for anybody out there who has a program, you might want to be sure to put that in the MCT community guidelines. Just take a look at it. You know, disclosing confidential information shared via MCT forum is strictly prohibited, et cetera, et cetera. However, you do know now that your emails and your names are, if you're a regional lead, are just out there on Google. May not be a bad thing though, because a lot of folks in rural areas, in areas that don't have a lot of support, they may not realize they can even get to the MCT Central because their junk mail may have gotten rid of their welcome pack, their welcome kit, all of that. So it may not be bad for your regional lead list to be on available publicly, but if you're concerned about that, now you know. So moving down the last couple of features, download LDC content, that's the Learning Download Center, how to do the downloading of your Learning Download Center stuff just using Chrome, just using the browser. Why? If you have been in the LinkedIn group for MCTs or the corresponding Facebook group for MCTs, you have noticed that occasionally, every couple of months, every couple of weeks, somebody posts saying, I can't get the Learning Download Center to download my stuff. The Learning Download Center has its own Learning Download Manager. This goes back to a time where we actually had to download the virtual machines used for our classes. And so that was a big, hefty download. So there was a download management tool that we used. Now it's not that big a deal. It's a couple of PDFs. So the Learning Download Center download manager can be quirky. It can have problems with credentials. It's a challenging tool to use, and you don't really necessarily need it anymore. And so you could just use your browser to do the download. And so there are some tips and tricks under download LDC content on Chrome. Not that there's a lot to download anymore because our courses are on the learning paths now. Now, they're on the learning paths, but there is a difference. You need to go to the course learning path, not just the average public learning path just for the topic. I can even do a session on that. I'm sure other people have done sessions on that. I'm sure that there is information for that under the MCT readiness. There are links to that. So, but definitely know that our courseware is no longer really going to be on the Learning Download Center. It's going to be the changelog, the slides, maybe some trainer prep information, and things like that. Now, the MOS exam voucher request form. Can you see how, by the way, do you see how useful this bar is? This bar should be the site, really, to tell you the truth. And all these little tiles should be down at the bottom. But this is meaty for those of you who are office trainers. And I know under changes to eligibility, I know that Microsoft Office specialists are no longer able to enter the program as Microsoft Office specialists. They need to enter the program. Whoa, my camera just blinked. Thank you guys. I just noticed in the chat that people are being kind to me. Appreciate it. The people coming into the MCT program now need to get one of the certifications that qualifies them to be MCTs and not just go on their office specialist because they won't be able to get in. But once you're in here, you may want to continue to get your exam vouchers. And this is a link for that. Beta Teach. Guys, I've got to open up the guys and ladies, people. I've got to open up the chat for me to look at how many of you knew that you could sign up for beta teaching. Or let me reverse that. How many of you didn't know you, as an MCT out in the wild, can do beta teaches of Microsoft's new courseware? So I'm getting a pop out on my screen up there with the slide because people are typing. Okay, Sasan, you've been around for a long time, so you know, but Fred did not know. Cindy and Dennis are typing. Dennis did not know. Cindy, I don't know if she knows or not, but because Dennis didn't know, because Fred didn't know, let me give you a heads up about beta teaching. This is off of the Central site to improve the quality of worldwide learning's instructor-led training courseware. They regularly facilitate beta teaches. Will they be doing this with the learning paths now? Are those considered courseware? I'm assuming so. And therefore, I'm assuming that they will continue to want people to test teach their new courseware. So to test teach it, you might want to sign up. So there's information. I'm not going to read the slide to you about the students and the MCTs and the process, but they say, please submit your feedback here. There's no explicit link on here of click this to sign up to offer to be the MCT who is, let me get rid of that bar, the MCT who wants to do the beta teach. They just say, please submit your feedback here. Is that after the teach? If you go to the form, you can see it actually is the form to apply because you're interested in participating in a beta teach as the instructor. What is your product area? What instructor-led learning have you taught up to this point? And then you can submit. This is still here. I believe it's still active. It might have gone stale. Who knows? It's MCT Central, but Beta Teach is there. Information about the 2022 MCT Connect conference sessions is no longer up in this publicly accessible under Town Hall or Microsoft Trainer Readiness. The recordings of the MCT Connect event in 2022, I believe they were either up here under the tiles or listed down here below in these columns format news items. But now they're down at the very bottom of the page and they're under 2022 MCT Connect conference sessions. More than that, they only surface a portion. There were more presentations than this, I do believe. I'm going to have to look into it again because I actually took the list of everything that was done and broke it out so that I could put all the MP4s in there for my own edification so that I could go back and look at some of these for the information that might have happened during the recorded or the session when it was live. And so these are here. So if you wanted to know what was going on with portfolio updates for marketing activities, etc., if you wanted to know what was going on with the technical application workshops overview during Connect, the links are here. Day 1, day 2, and I'll let you guys know in the groups if I find that they did cover everything, because originally they did not. Finally, for those of you who had Cindy Lewis, I thought I had to be nominated. I don't think you need to be nominated, Cindy, unless you want to. They're talking about the Enrique Lima Award. I don't think you have to be nominated to nominate someone else. To nominate somebody for the Enrique Lima Award, it's simply you're an MCT. You're a qualified MCT, and I don't even know if you need to be an active MCT or if you can be an alumni. Oh, with the Beta Teach. My apologies. So much stuff going on. I don't think you have to be nominated to do Beta Teach. You just fill out the form. Fill up the form and ask. What's the harm in asking, right? We're MCTs. We're pioneers. You know, we're trailblazers. We're the first one to learn something in our training center before we teach everyone else. Why not? Fill out the Beta Teach form. Just show everything. I think the more classes you have taught in your expert area that you want to Beta Teach, the more they'll likely respond to you and want you to do the Beta Teach. But it can't hurt, right? Sorry, though, Cindy, for interrupting everything and putting you on the spot in chat. Apologize. So the last two items, I only have 15 minutes, are program benefits and tools, and MCT guide. So program benefits and tools. That is an old slide from way back when that takes you out of the site and onto this page. Some of these links are so old they're obsolete, like going to the skill pipe reader that's no longer supported. But it's under these benefits and resources, Azure Pass program. The courseware marketplace, nowhere else on the site can you get to Arvado. The courseware marketplace. For you novices, I'm going to confirm the selection for cookies. For you novices, this is where you go to get a plethora of courses written by MCTs to cover courses that are not available as a Microsoft official course, the stuff that fills in the gap. The Arvado community marketplace for courseware, is a rich place to see if there's any courses already pre-made for what you're trying to do, or you can put courses up there. So this courseware marketplace is a big deal, and a lot of novices don't even know it's here. Cindy had mentioned also off of this MCT resources and benefits, she just got 40% off books at the MCT press store for print format for MCTs. Another nice benefit. For me, it was a better deal than my author discount. Cindy is a MVP in, I believe it's project. You're a project MVP, Cindy, correct? She teaches project,
Yes.
which excellent. So if I'm not mistaken, this isn't one of the cloud certifications though. So you're kind of pioneering. You're actually trailblazing on your own, doing this independently, correct?
The
And
book is published by Microsoft Press. I'm not following your question.
well, what I'm saying is the book that you published is not one of the cloud topics that Microsoft is pushing right now in terms of our certification and our official courseware.
No, it's not. Nope, it's a
Yeah.
desktop app.
And so you're doing this independently. And so because I publish books on SharePoint, so I get the feeling. And you're right. The discount you get from Microsoft Press as an MCT right now is better than the discount you get as a published author from
Yep,
Microsoft Press.
correct.
Another example of why you publish your own books and just sell it yourself on Amazon. But that's just me. That's just me. So, anyway, this page alone is useful for you to get. And Cindy, that was a great point because if we move down with these software services and benefits, the Azure Pass, be careful to use the Azure Pass only specifically and very much for prepping for a course that's coming up in the near future. Do not, don't abuse the Azure Passes. There are Microsoft Labs. Oh my goodness. Microsoft Labs. These are things that we need to use to teach our courses. There are multiple different Microsoft Lab providers. There's Learn on Demand, which is turned into Skillable now. There's Go Deploy. There's Versoft if you're in Europe. There is XtremeLabs, which, by the way, clever of XtremeLabs, when you go to this benefits page, the Microsoft Labs just takes you exactly to XtremeLabs. Practice the labs that you're going to be using for your clients and partners and brokers so that when you're teaching the official course learning paths, you have the labs that the attendees, the users, the students are going to be doing. So as an MCT, you have the right to go to these Microsoft labs, but they don't really tell you about all the other labs on the website on Central Microsoft Certified Trainer Central, MCT Central. Goodness, I've got way too many acronyms in my head, but they don't surface the different kinds of labs on the page. So we're going to have to go into that in more detail, but at least you can get to XtremeLabs here. In order to use the XtremeLabs labs for practice and preparation, and as an MCT, and Sana and Judy can speak more about this from the point of view of XtremeLabs. If I can get this thing to actually scroll down, please. Okay, it's not going to, my chat is not going to bother scrolling. Here we go. I've got lots and lots of things going on. If you want to use XtremeLabs labs, which are very much like all the others. Thank you, Sana. I have eight minutes. Please add your questions here for me. Yes. If you're going to use those labs, you need to sign up for XtremeLabs with your MCT ID so they can give you access. And all the others do that too. Furthermore, in addition to course access, the MCT store is for the MCTs to get their welcome kit stuff. Welcome kit, MCT store. For your exams, you would think that you can see the 50% discount for MCPs, find your exam from here, but it's no longer necessarily that easy. You have to schedule the exam. Oh, they added to schedule exam. 75% off select exams, which is most of the ones for the cloud. You can see, et cetera, et cetera. Discounts for practice exams with Pearson VUE. Very useful. The measure ups, I should say. Measure up exams, which you go through Pearson to get the discount. Priceless for me to sort of practice how to do exams, but they are not the be all end all. If you pass those, they don't cover everything. Book discounts. Ask Cindy that this is where she went for her discount. And then community support at MCT Central. This is actually a round robin. You go to MCT Central in order to get this document, and then you can go from this document back to MCT Central. And you can also go to that public forum for MCT support. There is no discrete MCT support. And then finally, by the way, guys, there is nowhere here to talk about MTM, the Microsoft Metrics That Matter. MTM is under MCT Guide. MCT Guide is actually the information about how to sign up for the metrics that matter, which is your evaluations, how to register and enroll, how to manage your profile. All the instructions are here. Every year we get questions about, oh my gosh, how do I get to MTM? How do I do this? How do I do that? It's all there, all here, I should say. So I have now covered everything that I think I can do within 45 minutes to an hour from the MCT Central site, but there's more. If I slide back over to my slides, take a look at MCT Central. The next one is, what do we have for MCTs that are publicly available, that isn't private, that anyone can go there? The Microsoft Learns MCT Certified Trainer. And this is kind of an issue for me insofar as I thought we could only get this kind of information from a site we had to have the right to log into. But no, it's as if Microsoft Learn actually did an end run on central administration, or maybe they're going to replace central administration. Because if you do Microsoft Certified Trainer and you go to learn.microsoft.com about Microsoft Certified Trainer, look at this. The data is organized, it is logical. So I guess what I'm saying is I just spent almost an hour telling you what was on MCT Central, when in fact you may just want to go to this page, learn.microsoft.com, the country you're supposed to be in. For me, it's EN-US, certifications, MCT certification, or just Google or Bing it. This is a page that's got everything under it. How to become a Microsoft Certified Trainer. MCT Central is considered a benefit. By the way, let me go back to MCT Central a second. Nowhere on this page did you see anything about how to renew. There is no renewal tool on here. Was it under the little benefits? I don't think it was. Yeah, nowhere to renew. Where is the renewal tool? Where is the renewal tool on MCT Central? It's not there. Weirdly, it's not there. You can go to your dashboard off of MCT Central, and you can go and get it. You'll have to log in potentially with your Microsoft Certified Trainer email bound to your learning profile, and then you can get to your certification, and you can get to your share link. Either create the link if you've never done it, or copy the link if you have, like I have. But there is nothing about renewing. So how do you get to the renewal tool? There's a lot of really good discussions, by the way, in the chat that I'm not really getting to right now, but if you can read the chat, because there's a really good dialogue going on there. So with MCT Central, whoop, boop, boo, we're getting really close. I've only got 3 minutes. Sana's like, we've only got 2 minutes left. Okay. With MCT Central, there's no going to the renewal tool. But if you go to the Microsoft Certified Trainer page, and you can see the application process, which is basically the renewal tool, but it's for applying for the first time. You can see a clear information about how to apply. There was nothing like that on MCT Central. I just went over every square inch with you. Nothing about the program entry requirements. They're here and they change. So take a look at them. MCT application process. And finally, look where my mouse is, people. I do have this zoomed, correct? Nope. Let me zoom this further. For those of you who need to see this on a small screen, the MCT enrollment tool is only at the Learn document for MCTs. Requirements to renew your status and meet the minimum instruction requirement teaching at least one class that's validated by metrics that matter. MTM is listed here, current eligible certification. for Microsoft certified trainers, except for Microsoft Office specialists. Information about the alumni program. All of this is in Learn and not on MCT Central, including this little link right here underneath the picture for program benefits. Explore all the benefits available to MCTs. And here is that document. So that is over on Learn as well. So what did I teach you? MCT Central is nice for some things, but just about everything except the recordings, the beta teach information, etc. All the stuff about the program itself is no longer private on behind a certification wall on MCT Central. It's out here in the wild under Learn. So that is the entire presentation in a nutshell. So there you go. Thank you very much. Now I am going to scroll through really, really quickly because I am done. I hope that Sana will allow me to cut off the first couple of minutes of this presentation so that I can actually get to your questions. So I don't know. Sana, do you want to get on here and tell me if there are any questions that seem appropriate for me to answer?
Callahan, right now, we just had a question about Azure Pass. Somebody is asking about if they can get Azure Pass more often than 1 week.
No,
and
as a matter of fact, that's a great
Yeah.
question, but no. As a matter of fact, whoever that MCT was, you should have gotten an email that actually warned you that they're no longer letting you do Azure passes every 3 days. They're now forcing you to go every 7 days. They got uncomfortable with us using so many Azure passes. They felt like maybe that wasn't something they were comfortable with. So, and thank you, JJ, he's jumping to his next meeting. So they decided to break it to 7 days. You can only do 7 days with Azure passes. Understand though, in our labs, and the labs available for MCTs, particularly like in Extreme, but probably with Skillable and the others, they're doing a different thing than Azure passes. They're doing the ability to get into Azure, I should say for the users, the ability to get into Azure and do the Azure labs from within their labs. I am correct, Sana, is that right?
Yes, it is called Cloud Express Pass. CEP.
Okay.
That is an alternative to Azure Pass.
So it's Cloud Express Pass. It's CEP. So I didn't see the question, so I don't know who to attribute it to, but that was a good question. Is there anything else?
No, there are tons of appreciation for your amazing presentation, Callahan. It was one of the best sessions we had.
Thank you. I could have gone further, but yes, thank you.
Yeah. So there are a couple of nominations for you as well. So that is also great.
That's very kind. I appreciate that. It's nice to be appreciated. But there's really nothing else that I need to go back over for anybody, because I feel as if this MCT Central and the fact that everything is out on a Learn document, in what used to be docs.microsoft.com, I feel like that's a black box and not everybody knows. So have we covered those?
Yes, Callahan. Everybody who is in this call can ask their questions to us at info@XtremeLabs.io. Let me just add that email address in the chat, and then we can just pass on your information to Callahan as well. And also, if you have any question for XtremeLabs, we can answer that as well. As you all can see Callahan's email, so you can reach out to her.
Yep. And by the way, if you guys need more experience or more knowledge about how to do these labs, maybe myself or someone else could do a session on kind of doing XtremeLabs first, because they're so kind as to make that really easy to do straight off the MCT website, but give you an idea of how to do these labs and what I mean by the CEP, by the Azure labs that allow you to not have to worry about Azure passes with your students. This might be a really good thing for you to also let your brokers and your learning partner or your training center know that this might be available to them through the labs they may not know. And yes, Sana, you did a good job moderating. Can I I add to that? Yes. So thank you, Sana. I'm 4 minutes over. I apologize. And I think I'm done. Yeah, I think I really didn't have a lot of questions here. Okay.